Alright, welcome to the Season Ticket Podcast. Here we are again. I've returned from my ailment, layoff, whatever it is. Still got a bit of a sore throat, so coughing fits always in the offing. Starting with football. British football, he's got written down.
Yeah, because the first thing I was writing about underneath, one of them was Swansea. So it's
okay, very PC.
Well, I hate when people say from America or Australia with tenuous grasp of geography lump me in with Britain when I'm Irish, so I'd extend that favour to our Celtic cousins.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's nice and sectarian.
Yeah.
But in a positive way. Sorry, Des, your question, or did you have one?
Well, yeah, start talking. That was my question.
Start talking.
About said match featuring said. Well, it seemed you led yourself in beautifully and then just stopped.
I did. Well, I thought I might have steamrolled you, but I was giving
trying to research yourself. Okay, you know? First up is Leicester versus Swansea.
Leicester versus Swansea. Leicester 4, Swansea 0. Foxes go and open up an 8-point gap again because Spurs are playing tomorrow night. They're at home to West Brom, and Swansea were trounced recently by Newcastle. It seems that once they got the safety, Guidlin did a really good job considering how precariously placed they had been prior to his arrival. But it's tools down. They're there in body, if not in spirit. Yeah. So Leicester did a number on them. Interestingly, no Vardy and 4 goals for Leicester. I can't remember the last time they played Leicester. So what I'm trying to say is Vardy's been holding that team back.
Well, yeah, definitely. Great analysis.
Thank you. I'm going where few people would go, Des, because it's controversial, but I've got to call it like I see it.
Nice.
Vardy's holding that team back.
Stay off Vardy.
Yeah, they would have won the league last year if Vardy wasn't there.
Oh, God.
So into the games that you looked at in detail then.
Yeah. I didn't have a great preview weekend.
Is that to say that you got them all wrong?
That is to say such.
I just wanted to clarify that in case that wasn't.
No, that was true, yeah. If we start backwards today, Sunderland played Arsenal, and I predicted an Arsenal win. I had initially said a Sunderland win, then I revised my opinion. I went for the Arsenal win, and in the end, of course, neither was right. It was 0-0 draw. There were, I think in the first half, I was only listening to bits and bobs again with the snooker on. I'm spending more of my time watching that. But I think Benone in goal for Sunderland, I think he's ex-Arsenal, as it happens, yeah. And he saved quite a few shots. But then the second half, I believe that Arsenal only had 2 shots on target, none of which were from Giroud, their French striker who can't strike. And I think, well, Big Sam was saying, I think we could have pinched a 1-0 win. He would have said that. But either way, it brings Sunderland out of the relegation zone.
Yeah.
They leapfrog Norwich.
They're level on points with Norwich now.
But I think they're heading goal difference or something.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
So that's good for them. Arsenal, it just keeps them, I think they're just level on points at City. I think they could have gone ahead in that race for automatic Champions League qualification, but they're still in a race to the end, head-to-head with them. So, yeah, I mean, Arsenal are just... it's hard to know what to say about them that we didn't say 5 years ago, so I'm not going to bother now.
Yeah. Who do you think is going to get relegated?
Villa. Villa, I think Newcastle, even though in the next match, which I'm about to say, they drew yesterday with Liverpool, they are picking it up, they are getting things together, but I think it's too late in the day. I think Sunderland have an edge in them. They seem to have the momentum. Norwich, sadly, from an Irish perspective, with 2 of our best players on the Norwich team, I think they'll probably go down along with Newcastle.
All right, and then so speaking of
Liverpool and Newcastle, I'd called that Liverpool would win. I mean, I think everything sort of pointed to that in terms of their recent form and in terms of Newcastle's away form, which has been diabolical this season.
You got Rafford.
Got Rafford. Rafford, he asked for a favour, and Simon Mignolet duly came up with the goods and flapped his way through the match. Well, Liverpool had a 2-0 lead, and
he was waving like he was on a boat.
I'll send a postcard. Yeah. So Mignolet did his stuff, and Newcastle availed or took advantage and got themselves a draw. An excellent result. Any other time of the year maybe, but at this time of the year I don't think it's great for them.
Oh yeah, too little too late.
I reckon so, yeah. Even though there's a marked difference in how they're performing with Rafa there, but they just kept on with Steve McLaren for too long, I think. I don't even think Mike actually gives it down, to be honest. Can't figure out his thinking other than trying to ring the club for every penny while doing as little as possible.
Everything he does is just about value for money.
Oh, yeah. His, whatever his interpretation of value is, yeah.
What about Liverpool? Still all rosy in the garden there?
Not really, no. Sakho, Mamadou Sakho, got pulled. He failed the drugs test. This was after the second leg in the Europa League against Dortmund. So he failed the drugs test, and he hasn't been suspended, but I think the club decided to stand him down from duties for the weekend.
Did he not fail it for the United match?
I thought it was Europa. I thought it was the Dortmund match.
No, I might be right.
Maybe I think that's what I read.
For some reason, I think he might have failed it. In the United game, he popped for that one.
Really, yeah? Well, I'll have to look up that to confirm it. But
it really calls the Dortmund game into question then, doesn't it?
I don't know.
It was only fat burners he was taking.
Fat burners. I think it's something similar to what Kolo Toure got done
water tablets kind of thing.
And Toure got a 6-month ban for that.
I'm just gonna say that's really the lower end of stuff.
Yeah,
I mean
it's just a technicality type thing.
Yeah, it's not juicing.
It's not juicing, but if he's aware that it's a banned substance, well then you're liable there anyway.
Of course he is. Of course he's aware. He's aware.
Well, we'll find all that out. I think the B sample is out on Tuesday, and then he has he has to answer the charges.
It could be quite severe, though. I think.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah,
get a couple of years out anyway.
No, really.
Well, they might have something like that in the books.
Yeah, in the books, potentially.
If you go by past cases, a lot of people are mentioning the Toure one and the 6 months. Either way, unless a miracle happens, he'll probably be missing for France this summer as well, which would be a proper kick in the teeth for the man.
Yeah, actually, one of the. Sorry, were you going to say something?
I'm just delighted to hear that that's the case.
One of the Blue Jays' sort of starting players in baseball got done for steroids, 80-game ban.
Wow.
This week. Well, 80 games.
Is that half a season?
Half a season, yeah. But he did the usual, I can't imagine. I don't know how this could have happened.
Yeah.
This is as big news to me as it is to you.
Do you know, I remember when Ben Johnson got done for the Seoul Olympics in 1988. I remember watching that 100-metre final. And it was brilliant, and then it came out, I don't think it was too long afterwards, that he was doping. Now, I was, 9 at the time, so I didn't really understand. I knew there was cheating involved. And then I was like, no, someone must have surely just popped something into his water when he wasn't looking. And they're still using that excuse. How could that happen? It doesn't matter the sport or who's involved. There's a standard response. This is impossible.
Yeah.
I'm as clean as anyone. I keep an eye on these things. How did it happen?
Yeah, and I think that's the last I read out of him. Sorry, and it's so funny because it all now makes sense because he was a nobody for years, and then all of a sudden he had these ridiculous ridiculous numbers. Yeah, I don't know if I'm trying to pull up the stats here, but they only go back 2 or 3 years.
He doesn't have a Barry Bonds tattoo anywhere in his person, does he?
No, I don't know. Okay, so in 2013 he hit 194, which is dreadful. That's. You don't belong in the major leagues.
Right.
229 the next year, and then all of a sudden 321 for Toronto, which is all-star type of ability. Home run 7, 6, and then 15. So yeah, he had sort of a breakout.
It's quite the graph you could plot there, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a fairly sharp kink in it, and now he's done for. I don't know what the steroid was. Yeah.
You'd think he'd be a bit wide to that. What age is he?
I don't know, to be honest.
I mean, if you're quite young, you could argue, he's still learning the game. It's an upward curve. But like Barry Bonds, when did he start hitting the big things? He was late 20s.
Yeah. There's pictures of him from when he used to play for the Pirates, and he's just a wiry, tall guy. And then he's literally 3 times the man he was by the time he makes it to the Giants. It's freaky. This dude is 32. Chris Colabello is his name.
Oh, well, I think that's fairly damning there. You don't really, you wouldn't say it's impossible for someone who's old enough for a sport to suddenly become really good, but that's...
Yeah, but didn't he get better jobs out of it?
No, it kind of happened when he came to Toronto. He was bad at Minnesota, and then which is a bit weird because the Blue Jays have another dude who was a nobody for years, and then became the biggest home run hitter in the game. Jose Bautista, and another guy called Edwin Encarnacion was a journeyman who all of a sudden...
how did the new clubs... they're buying him for presumably what, if he's not all that? And then they're buying him and he becomes all that there.
Do they have a program in place?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very strange. I can't find Calabello's statement now, but that's 3 people who have gone there and gotten extremely good.
It's question marks over the Blue
really
Jays.
suspect.
Yeah. Well,
that's 3 coincidences.
The other 2 guys have, presumably been tested plenty of times.
Are they all from different teams?
Yeah.
So they get in these fellas who can hit the ball, but really are only average at best.
Yeah.
So presumably they get them in relatively cheap contracts.
Yeah, they would have come in for half nothing.
And then they become great.
A
lot better very quickly.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure the Blue Jays aren't the only ones doing that end of things, but it'd be interesting to, if you could get some type of, again, maybe this is something for your day off to collate the information regarding cheap transfers and subsequent upturns in form.
It'll take a long time. That guy, Batista, the Blue Jays guy, if I go through his history, home runs, what was it, 16, 15, 15, 12, 16, 40. So
This is breakout season.
Now, yeah. Oh, no, sorry. 15, 12, 16, 54, 43, 27, 28, 35, 40. So he's gone from a dozen a year to 40 a year at age probably 28, 30.
Yeah, you don't usually get faster or stronger at that age. Yeah,
he's 35 now, and his glory days started in probably, what is it now? Jesus, it's a good while ago. No. 2010. So 30. He basically somehow had this magical turnaround and became the best home run hitter in the game.
I find it remarkable that sport has such a kind of starred history of people who've abused substances. Very famous, people, very big names named.
Yeah, well,
high profile, and people see all the the younger players see all the rigmarole that went through with all those players, and yet they'll still take the risk to do it.
Yeah, and do the American sporting public care that much? Because remember the Super Bowl there and all the various things swirling around about Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
And they were just saying, we're not going to ask about that because we just want to watch the game. It's like, but it's sort of serious. It's important enough to know these things.
When those guys, if they did take something, right? By the time that they're at the the new place and they're banging out 20 or 30, what number do you think where even they kind of go, I can't sell this anymore?
Yeah, well, when you go from 15 to 54, you're sort of
I'm just wondering what the actual number is where you go, oh shit.
Oh no. It's like when you break into a bank. I can't steal it all, can I? Oh, I just will. That was a tangent and a half.
Yeah, we tangentially went from Sakho being charged for the failed drugs test.
So come back to the FA Cup then, between Crystal Palace and Watford. I have to confess, I had no idea that was on at all. Was it given any coverage?
Yeah, I think it was.
Okay, maybe
again, I was busy with the snooker, so
it was definitely mentioned on Sky Sports News.
Yeah, I could tell you a little about that.
That's about it, I think.
Palace beat Watford 2-1. Balassi and Wickham got a goal apiece, and that sets up them for a replay of the 1990 FA Cup final between United and Palace.
That's a great bit of research there, Colin.
Yeah, thank you. It's only written in every article I've read about.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Somebody else did it for you.
Somebody else did it for me, yeah. And I'm not too sure, but I think that's around the time that Alan Pardew was playing for Palace.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Anytime anyone says his name, I'm expecting them to say Alan Partridge.
Well, he has quite silly, in fairness, yeah. I mean, at least Partridge is really funny with it the odd time. Pardew, not so much.
Yeah, if Partridge is passive-aggressive, Pardew's just aggressive-aggressive.
Pardew didn't come out of the inquiry relating to unfair dismissal. I think it was unfair dismissal of Gutierrez very well.
I can't imagine he'd come out of any inquiry into anything very well.
But what a douche not to back his player.
Yeah, stop.
That's douchey. Why is he backing a club who has no loyalty to him in the first place? First thing you should be thinking about is that man.
Yeah, well, Anyway, so it was great.
He's a prat.
They found in favour Gutierrez anyway, so that was brilliant. A rare piece of justice. So yeah, that's the FA Cup final. Whatever. Spanish football, Des. Something happened yesterday.
Barcelona won 6-0 against Sporting Gijon. I didn't get to see that. Why didn't I see it? Oh, I was out. It was 2-0 for most of the game, and then they banged in. Well, they got 3 penalties or something.
I saw 1 penalty.
Apparently 2 of them were just ridiculously soft.
Where are Sporting Gijon in the...
probably 17th or so, I'd say.
Go chicken wings.
Where are you getting that one from? You said that earlier on, I didn't get it.
Gijon just sounds like Gujan.
Oh, Gujan, right, yeah, sorry. Yeah, they're 18th, so they're going down most likely.
Good. Are Vallecano going down as well?
No. They're on 35 points. They're 3 points from the drop zone. Of course, they had 3 points they were in good shape for 3 points yesterday, 2-0 up after 16 minutes against Madrid. But you just knew with them that it was going to end up, 7.
You sent me that message, and I was so tempted to go 3-2. Right?
Yeah.
Just like
3-2 would have been conservative too. Yeah. So Madrid got there. So it's an Atletico had a 1-0 victory, funnily enough, yesterday. Suarez got 4 for the second game in a row, and that. The best thing about that is it takes him ahead of Ronaldo on the top scorer charts for the year by I think 2 goals or so.
I keep insisting he's the greatest.
Suarez, yeah. I know he's great to watch, but again, I didn't watch him yesterday.
I think he's the king of that game currently.
So that puts Barcelona and Atletico even, and Real 1 behind with 3 games to go, and it's just a case of who's going to blink first, or if nobody blinks at all, then Barcelona win the title on goal difference.
Yeah, that's their advantage, isn't it?
Yeah. Tough game to go. They have one tough game left ish. They've Espanyol in the sort of a derby game, which has that little bit added into it. They might stumble there. They just don't seem that mentally strong these past few weeks. So I could well see them dropping.
What score did they win the previous match?
8.
So
14
goals. That'll do something for the confidence.
I suppose they didn't play anybody though. You know what I mean?
I know, but it's still winning matches. It's still going. Okay, we can do this. We're not.
Yeah, if it's as bad a streak as you think it is, they're not. It's not a streak because they're winning matches.
Yeah, all right. I suppose that's
too negative. Des, too negative.
Yeah. Where was I going with that? Yeah, so
you haven't watched enough United this year.
No, thankfully.
And you'd know how seasons are won and lost with that muck.
So it should be an interesting last day of the season there. Italy, Cobb, you had something for us.
Yeah, just something relatively interesting. Milan beat Udinese 3-1.
Well, that is interesting.
What was very interesting about it, actually, City reject Jovetic got a couple of goals, but it was the first ever Serie A match with no Italian starting for either team.
Jesus. Has that happened in England?
Oh, yeah. Quite a bit, yeah. But
It
first time ever
in
Italy, there's a degree of homogeneity in Italian football that's way beyond what's in English football. So I just find it interesting that it's taken to this point, with all the money sloshing around various leagues, albeit to a lesser extent with Italy, that this is the first match without an Italian player. Udinese, I'm trying to think what I know about them, and a quick look in my head says nothing. I was thinking of something else.
Football really is a case of like, which company do you support now?
Yeah, there's an argument for that, all right. Especially if, say, with Inter, and you're an Inter fan who happens to live in the area, you go to all the matches. That's fine, it's still Inter. But if you're a remote fan,
yeah,
you're not getting the stadium atmosphere. You're getting the company, I suppose, as you say.
I think in the larger sense, if you're just talking about what leagues you watch.
What do you? How do you mean?
What you just said there about what? I mean, it's really an issue of what product you buy into.
Yeah, but
so my lack of knowledge in Italian football is just because I'm not watching. I'm not buying into that. I'm buying more into
the entertainment of But the individual teams, like, it doesn't matter at this stage who anyone plays for.
Conceivably watch it. I think there's an awful lot of this. Kind of like, you should only watch this league or that league. It depends on what you're into.
Depends what you're into. I like to go to Italian match every so often.
Like, they're not like players. Most players aren't players for that club anymore. They're just employed by that company to wear that coloured shirt for a while.
That's never bothered me. You know what I mean? People going, I don't know. I honestly don't care.
It's a bit more romantic when, even like United, when it was built from the ground up, or Liverpool.
Yeah, that's ancient history.
I know, but it's still a nicer thought.
I just think about Luis Suarez and how lucky everyone's.
That is true, yeah.
Seeing a player in different leagues like that, so that's why I don't buy it, because I go, And listen, if the English players aren't good enough and Johnny Furner's taking their jobs, then I'll always say, it's your problem, buddy. Yeah. He's better than you are.
Yeah.
And funny thing there as well, Charlton were relegated from the Championship, the old second division. And they're owned by some Belgian dude who's sort of like an absentee landlord. Fans aren't very happy at all. But one of his management team, a lady, I can't think of her name, was speaking at an industry conference there in December, I think, and she said something about the Charlton fans to the effect like, it's weird. They seem to feel some ownership of the club, instead of being consumers.
Yeah,
like, what is this? And then
that's not going to go down well.
No, and then
really say that?
Yeah, she said that. Yeah.
Like, of all the things to say that about, I mean, How can you not? How can you not get into
and even
the
if
job?
even if you are a business person, that's what you want for your brand, like an Apple. People, feeling
that's
like
what I mean.
they
Like,
have a stake in it.
Like, who gave her the job, and what did she think she was going to be doing? That's the real question.
Well, it's seemingly the management and the owners there just treat the team or football purely in figures and logistics, and money's in.
Yeah.
It's not a good model for a smaller club.
It's not, especially now that they've been relegated. Yeah. So anyway, funny thing, in France, PSG have wrapped up the treble there. Surprise.
Boring.
Very boring. But
treble. Is there a League Cup as well? Is there?
The second division, Liga 2.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you. There's a team there. It's Red Star Paris.
Oh.
And they look like they could be in with a chance of getting promoted. Now, Red Star Paris, I think, were founded by Jules Rimet way back in the day. And they're a very sort of socialist-leaning club.
Right.
They get an average of just a handful of thousand to each match. And so it'd be great if they got up and got
it'd be a good derby game,
the behemoth of PSG. It'd be very funny.
Right, so we'll move away from football now and talk UFC 197.
Yes.
You all stayed up for it last night.
Yeah, we watched it.
Yeah, I didn't even mean to stay up for it.
Yeah, accidentally watched it.
Yeah.
And was it good?
It was average.
Excellent. Care to expand?
The Jones fight wasn't a great fight, if I'm being entirely honest.
Was he fighting OSP?
He was, yeah. And he put up a decent fight, but in the end he was outmatched. It was 3 weeks' notice, I think.
Okay, it's another case of that.
So, yeah, and Jones coasted.
Yeah.
That's what he did. And he won it 50-45.
Just picked him off, sort of. Did he?
Yeah, he must have kicked his knee about, I don't know, a couple of hundred times when it looks of it.
He's very fond of that. Very tactical approach.
Oh, it's dreadful. It's dreadful to have to deal with. It seems to put a ton of fighters off. It really works.
Is he going to fight at UFC 200 now?
That's his plan, hopefully.
Against?
Cormier, if he's not injured.
Yeah. Which is what was meant to happen last night.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it was a fairly dull affair.
It was his first fight in
over a year, I think. Yeah. So you got to cut him some slack, and he publicly criticised himself, which I really liked. I have to say about his own performance.
Right. Anything interesting in the prelims?
The other fights, fights on the card, there was a couple of good ones. Let's just mention the fact that Demetrius Johnson has defended his title yet again.
8th time, was it, or something?
Yeah, exactly, with relative ease.
What weight is that at?
That's flyweight.
That's 135 or something, is it?
125, I think.
Jesus. There's some small people.
Because that's bantamweight is 135 and then 145.
Okay. If they weren't wrestlers, they'd be jockeys.
Yeah. So
but these guys are ridiculously fast though, and Demetrius Johnson has power as well. He has knockout power. Like, he's a small guy, but you can wallop people unconscious real easy. And look, he just clattered the dude with just a bunch of knees and a couple of elbows, and he got the better of him in seconds, and he folded really quickly when he took a couple of good shots. So I don't know about his wrestling credentials and his I'm an Olympian, etc. You see, all that stuff only matters so much.
So what's going to happen now with Diaz at UFC 200?
Well, he won't fight anyone else, in his own words. Yeah. I wonder why.
Is this all a big,
who knows,
conspiracy to just get that fight off because nobody was interested in it?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think the public will lap it up anyway. I think what happened with McGregor was he was actually pissed off. And it's all developed from there. I think it all actually has gone from there, and it is about money issues, and my time is money. Basically, is what he's saying. So
but they're certain that it's going to be all worked out, and he's going to fight again.
Of course,
later
because that's what negotiating is. Right. That's essentially what he's been doing. Like it looks like it's all it's just your balls in your court. That's
elements of this. I'm not a huge fan of the UFC. As a company, and this sort of stuff I think is clownish. It's reminiscent of WWE. Like, Dana White say no, he won't fight. And then eventually, if he will, it's gone. Is this just another poxy storyline? Can you not just act?
I don't know that it is though, because I looking at White having to kind of moderate his language and stuff. I know that he doesn't like being made to look publicly a bit of a fool, or that power is taken away from him. And that's kind of what's happening. It's
a power struggle in the fact.
Yeah, very much so. And I think he'd be... honestly, maybe this sounds kind of daft. He's looking at the kind of guy who, if he's playing him that well, the Fertitta brothers who own the whole bloody thing will be looking at, there's his replacement in a few years' time.
You
that's
think
an interesting
a bit like
angle
Triple
as well.
H trying to take over from Vince McMahon?
McGregor has really big ideas about himself, but he's very cagey about what they are. And I think they're like, he's absolutely going to be like someone that you'd want giving commentary and analysis at the very least, because he's very good at it. And he thinks bigger than that. I mean, this is what I was saying about the guy. When he came in, he was making fights for other people by telling someone, he said, you're a bum, basically.
Oh, yeah.
This kind of stuff, you know what I mean? The fact that he's even doing that, he's matchmaking as well. Like, I think he thinks way, way, way past just fighting.
It's possible, all right.
Do you want down in Lisdon Varna then next summer?
That's my tip. And my other one is Juan Mata to manage in England.
At any point.
Yeah, he's going to do it. I have a feeling.
Okay, don't know if it'll be around long enough to call you up on that one. Do you want to go into the snooker then for a while, Cobb, and start us off with some...
Yeah, the snooker's been pretty good, but a lot of the players would disagree with that. There's some of the... I think it's table one of the two tables is acting the ginnet every day for every match.
Yeah, they've disparaged the table.
Oh, like Ali Carter was knocked out by Alan McManus there, and he said it's the worst table I've ever played on, and it was another bitter pill for him to swallow. It's just, now in fairness, it will be doing the same thing to both players. You know, it's an equal opportunity.
Yeah.
Bollocks.
You can only think about your game, and if it's upsetting your game, that's the end of it.
Some people will deal with it better than others. Some people go, oh, right, you know, it's just going to be like that, and some others are like, this shouldn't be happening. So it depends on how you control yourself, I suppose. But yeah, it seems to be a big problem. It's just bouncing like crazy, like it's flying off off the side, and loads of kicks, everything. So anyway, they're having big problems with that. So Mark Williams was even saying in a BBC interview that he's fairly sure he knows what's happening, but he couldn't say because he said, I'll be fine, so if you turn the camera off, I'll tell you what it is. So
weird thing to say.
It is a strange thing to say, but anyway, and then Judd Trump sent a mad old tweet out. Dominic Dale is doing some of the coverage, the commentary rather, for Eurosports, and he had said he'd criticised mildly Judd Trump's cueing Judd Trump against Ding Junhui. And then during the interval, Judd Trump decided to tweet that he was clueless, which, you know, he's daft, certainly. And as Colin Murray in Eurosport said, you know, he's weird. he's not mean, but he's weird. So, you know, storming a teacup. But I think Trump is fairly fond of the old tweeting game. So.
It's a bit weird, like, just play the game and keep quiet until...
Yeah, why would it bother you if you're in the middle of a match? I don't know.
Hey, you sent me that Tiger Woods thing. It bothered Tiger Woods.
What?
Criticism.
Yeah, true.
But bothered him greatly. And tweeting exactly that, wanting to know what people thought of him.
He said he doesn't ever read the internet anymore.
Yeah, well, that's probably why.
Yeah. Go on. So then Selby got through last night.
Selby beat Bird, and really, I mean, you were texting me. You didn't like it very much, did you?
No, it was Baird is very, very slow.
He's a very strange player.
He really is, and I can't put my finger on why.
Yeah, I like it.
He looks like he doesn't belong there.
Really weird hair.
Yeah.
Sort of 80s mullety, slightly, you know. It's definitely a few more months than it would be. And he has a weird way of getting down over the ball and hitting everything. So he did quite well. But, so he lost to Selby, and then Selby wasn't looking great at all. I'd be delighted to have gotten through.
Nobody's looked very good yet.
No, Hawkins is beating O'Sullivan at the moment.
He's going to win.
I don't know if he will.
I said it yesterday after the first session when he was 5-3 up. He was still 3-1. I was like, that is huge. Like, he looks so good, and he looked equally good today, and he's still 2 up, and he's 11-10. So
that's crazy, man. But sugar. I can't remember what I was going to say about that. But
about what?
I was going to say something about Sullivan that was no, it's gone from the mind altogether at this stage. Apologies for that. But I think your man Wilson is something to look out for. Kira Wilson.
Yeah.
Cyron. I couldn't figure out at all what the hell they were calling him, so I just started calling him Kira. But he looks really good.
How was his name
spelled? You have not seen him. Kyron.
Christ.
It's just an anglicisation of Kieran, isn't it?
Kyron.
Yeah, it's odd.
I think there's a footballer with that name.
Really?
Yeah.
Never heard of him.
So he's 9-5 up against Mark Allen at the minute.
Yeah, so he's doing well, although Allen has come back. He was 9-1 up, wasn't it? Or
No, he was 7-1.
Sorry, 7-1.
And then Allen won 4 in a row to go 7-5, and now it's 9-5.
But anyway, it's been pretty good. Some not overall, I haven't seen a match that's been brilliant all the way through.
No, not at all.
There's been some excellent frames.
There's also talk that the pockets are quite wide, which is leading to a lot of clearances.
Really?
Yeah, Davis or someone was saying the pockets are playing generous.
Yeah.
Sure, O'Sullivan and Hawkins are up at like 96 and 95%. Those games are all just over in one exchange. So, we talked about Tiger Woods very briefly there. He was at some demo thing, hitting full drivers and swinging it pretty sweetly. Wasn't trying to murder it, just nice, smooth swing. So, when the Players' Championship is about 2 weeks away,
right,
he's on course. And then I can sit there, follow on the shot tracker for hours at a time on a Thursday and Friday until he misses the cut.
Yeah,
you can dream one more time.
Back to that old obsession. Have you got anything else to regale us with before we hit the off button?
Good luck with getting the children to get into the golf as well.
Golf? They're into snooker, so let's start. Right, okay. We'll leave it at that. Thanks for listening.